What's going on, everybody? Let me know if you can see me. Let me know in the comments where you're coming from. All that good stuff. I am going to load this stuff up. And this time I actually labeled it so you guys know what the freak I'm putting up here. So I can actually get it up, because last time it was super hard to actually find each and every file and actually get the right ones. But this time we came prepared. Thank you guys for joining me. I really appreciate you guys being here. And we decided we weren't going to go to my family's this year, or her family's, Maddie's family, and so we're just kind of hanging out at home. And I have some time to jump on here, and I have a lot to say about what's going on. So I figured I'd just jump on and see who wanted to join for a little Turkey Day stream. So here we are. As always, guys, I appreciate all the support. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to my X if you haven't yet. And then at the end here, we will go into the super chats as well, because I am finally set up for that. So if you guys want to leave some super chats, I'll be able to do that as well. Let's see. All right. So let me just finish loading this stuff up here. And happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Okay, Cash Patel, here we go. All right. I only have audio, no pic. I don't think that's everybody. Is there no video? Can you guys see video? Is there no video right now? Is there no video right now? Okay. I'm not sure why you guys aren't seeing video, guys, but everybody else is saying that they can, so I don't think there's a problem. I think we're still good. I see it on my end too, so I don't think we have a problem. Okay, cool. All right, what's up, everybody? How you guys doing? What's everybody up to this Turkey Day? I'm just finishing up loading all these pictures. I have a bunch of images that I need to upload that we're going to go over. So what we're going to be talking about today, though, is I have a theory, because I'm just your favorite conspiracy theorist. I have a theory about what's happening right now with the shootings. And I want to share that. I had a conversation last night with a friend of mine, and it just made me realize it's something that we should be talking about, and something that I have, like I said, some theories on. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about that. Trying to survive the in-laws. Uh-oh. Why surviving the in-laws? How many of you guys are feeling like you're surviving the in-laws? I can feel that. I think everybody can feel that at one point. All right. Let's see here. Let me pull this up. Okay. So for those of you guys who have kind of heard what's going on, there was a shooting in DC, and let me pull it up here. I think this is, I'm not going to play the entire video because I don't want to get freaking blasted off YouTube, but this is from yesterday. And I just pulled up just so that I can get it exactly right. I'm not making any mistakes here. Pulled up exactly what happened so I can just kind of tell you guys in case you don't know. All right. So that's the video. Actually, that was a different video, but that's okay. That's the one I wanted, actually, because the other one, like I said, would probably be too long, and then I'll get blasted off because of, YouTube. But basically, yesterday, guys, I'm just going to read this right from this article. Yesterday in Washington, D.C., 2 National Guard soldiers were shot. The incident happened near a military facility. Both guardsmen were part of a security team, but the details about why the shooting took place are still unclear. The authorities haven't released all the information yet, but the shooting was a serious incident. Law enforcement is investigating it. Both soldiers were injured and are receiving medical treatment, which is really interesting because what I heard at first was that they were killed. For some reason, that was the report that came out right away. I'll let you guys figure out or, think about that yourselves and come to your own conclusion as to why they would say that they were just killed automatically. But that's what I heard first. Motive and person responsible for shooting are still under investigation. Right now, it's a developing situation. Isn't it interesting how with some of these incidents, we don't know anything at all, but with some of them, it's like, what happened right away. And I know some people say, well, yeah, but sometimes that's how it is. Sometimes there's less information or more information. It's like, okay, well, why does it always seem to be that the more information comes from the ones that are racially driven or, whatever. Again, just conspiracy theories, right? But anyway, there was some interesting information that came out along with that, and I'm going to pull that up right now. I believe this was it. Yes, I think this is the one. So I don't know if you guys can read that. If you can't, let me know. But let's see. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and... Oh, wait, no, that's not the right one. Hold on, I gave you guys a second one. Sorry, one sec. Here we go. This is it. Okay, so I'll go ahead and just read this. Major update. The FBI has now revealed that the Farragut West gunman, 29-year-old Afghan national, I don't know how to say this name, so Ramanohla Lakanwal, I don't know how to say that freaking name. If you guys know how to say it, go ahead and figure that out. But reportedly spent nearly a decade serving alongside U.S. Special Forces as part of the Afghan National Army Special Operations Units before entering the United States in 2021. That background has drawn immediate scrutiny because individuals from those partnered ANASOF units typically underwent extensive vetting, worked closely with U.S. Green Berets, Rangers, and JSOC enablers, and were considered among the most trusted Afghan elements. His record is now being re-examined to determine how someone with that history came to carry out targeted shooting on U.S. troops. Now I'll remove that one and I'll go ahead and add this next one. This is the second part. And I believe this came from Tesseron News. So shout out to Tesseron News for this. I really like following those guys. They seem to be really up on everything. Let's see, let's go to the next one. Authorities stated that Lockenwall's, I think that's how you say, legal permission to remain in the United States expired in September 2025, placing him among the Afghan parolees whose cases President Trump had ordered to be re-examined after the attack. Trump confirmed the directive moments before announcing the mobilization of 500 additional National Guard troops to reinforce security in Washington, D.C. 2 West Virginia National Guard members remain in critical condition after being shot in the head during high-visibility patrols near Farragut West Metro Station. If I'm saying that wrong, I apologize, guys. Lockenwall was shot during the confrontation and sustained non-life-threatening injuries before being taken into custody. The FBI is treating the case as a possible act of terrorism, and federal officials plan to announce charges on November 27th. So if you haven't seen it yet, this is the image of him after he was apprehended. It's really interesting. I'm going to take that off though, because I don't want to leave it up for too long, but it's really interesting how this happens right now. A lot of us have been talking about the fact that the Zionist agenda right now is losing a lot of steam, especially with younger generation. And you guys can definitely feel the tide turning as far as the America First movement goes. And what I mean by that is the America First movement stands for no more foreign entanglements and absolute complete, decoupling from freaking Israel and everything that's going on in the Middle East. We want out. We do not want part of this anymore. And we especially don't want to be part of this situation that seems to be heating up with Iran still, because that's not over. I don't know why. I don't know if people think that that's over, but it's not. The Iran situation is not over. It's absolutely still going on, and it's only getting worse and worse behind the scenes, and we don't want to be a part of it. We don't want to be a part of any of that. And so, historically, if you look back in history and you pay attention, I always say that if you pay really, really close attention to history, it gives you such a better understanding of the present. And sometimes you can even predict the future, right? And they say history repeats itself. I don't believe history repeats itself. I believe it rhymes. And if you pay really close attention, you can catch these rhymes. Well, this is one of those things where I look at it and I say, okay, in the past, when this stuff has happened, what does it seem like the agenda was in the United States of America, as far, or what does it feel like the climate was, right? The temperature when it came to anti-war, anti-foreign entanglements, anti-foreign aid, just what was the overall temperature like? And more often than not, it seems to be that people are sick and tired of being involved in foreign wars and being involved in these foreign entanglements and kind of the same place that we're at right now. And then it just seems to be like something always happens that doesn't just turn the tide, but almost forces everyone to have to change their stance, right? To all of a sudden be like, no, we need war now. We need to be involved, right? This sudden rise of patriotism comes out of nowhere, and all of a sudden everybody's just kind of like, no, this is where we stand now, right? And I think you guys could probably pick out a certain event in history that seemed to be, kind of the same thing that I'm describing right now. Starts with 9 and ends 11, because at that point in time, we wanted nothing to do with any of this stuff, right? And we were very much in a place where we didn't want to be in war. We didn't want to be involved in all foreign things. And then all of a sudden, that needed event took place and catapulted us into a 20-year war that ended up losing, I think, over 1 million lives, all under false pretenses, right? Of weapons of mass destruction and everything else. I mean, we've talked about this. We don't have to go into that. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. But that being said, this obviously is not as big of an event. But to me, it kind of seems like it's leading up to something. To me, it seems like they're setting up a false flag. Yeah, I said it. That's what I think. It feels like they're setting up a false flag. And, I don't know if that's the case, but again, just kind of paying attention to what I've seen in the past, in history, and also coincidentally, I don't know if you guys caught this, but there was an incident in Fairfax. This was back in, I want to say it was, well, let's see. I have it right here. Let me pull it up really quick. Let me pull it up. I believe it was this one. Nope, that's not it. Is it this one? Yeah, so April 2025, a Fairfax County traffic stop. If you guys don't remember this, an Afghan translator, thread U.S. resident Jamal, I need to read it from here. I can't read it on my small computer or my small screen. Jamal Wall, since 2014, shoots 2 cops after expired tags pulled over, muttering, "Today's the day." Third officer drops him. Immigration doesn't work. Body cam doesn't lie. So if I have the video, but I don't want to play it because I know that they'll give me a strike if I do this. So I'm just going to pull this up really quick. Here's another picture of him, by the way. These were the photos from the body cam. And as you can see, that's why they're saying body cam doesn't lie. I mean, that's pretty cut and dry right there. But let's see. No, that's not the one. Is it this one? Nope, that's not it. Let me just pull it up right here, guys. Hang on a second. I think we got it right here. Okay. So basically, it was like the exact same thing. If you look back at this incident and you look back at these 2 cops being shot, once again, it's two officers, right? And they were shot by an Afghan national. And it's the exact same story. Like it played out the exact same way, where it seemed like it was a terror attack and it rose a lot of concerns and the temperature rose a little, like way more than normal. And here's the thing: there's been other attacks, and it's just kind of been feeling like they're building up to something, right? And you know, again, I'm not here to scare anybody. I'm not here to be like a freaking doomsday, guy or anything, but like if there's something that they need to do in order to flip in order to completely flip the narrative in this country, turn the tide and get everybody back on board with their current agenda to be involved in these foreign wars, they need to once again create the perfect villain to be able to hide who the true villains are. I've said this many, many, many times. The true villains are very good at positioning someone else or something else as the villain. And what it really does is it hides who those true villains really are, right? It redirects all of the energy to the other person or the other, organization or country or whatever it may be. And it just seems like that's what's happening right now. It seems like it's very apparent that the Zionists and that the pro-Israel lobby and the, MAGA first patriots in this country, like everybody is losing more and more support by the day. People post something and they get absolutely wrecked in the comments. Everybody is done with this, and everybody is waking up to this fact. And everybody is starting to realize who the enemy really is. And they're starting to point out who the evil really is. By the way, this evil, which I'm talking about, the Israeli government, as one of them, they're part of it, right? A big part of it. But they're still bombing Libya and Syria and Gaza. Like people are just like, we stopped talking about this now because basically, it moved on from the news. But also, I would also just like to point out that pretty much every journalist that was in Gaza has been killed. And so, you only have a few people in there. And then anytime something comes out, they call it, terrorist propaganda, Hamas propaganda, whatever, the same old playbook. But the Libya and Syria stuff is just kind of getting buried. But they've been bombing Libya continuously for like the last couple of weeks. At least that's the reports that I'm seeing through Tesseron and through a couple of these other channels that I follow that are not propaganda. They're not terrorist propaganda. They're literally like war channels, guys. And so, this is not a secret. This is happening. People just aren't really paying attention to it. But as I said, everybody's waking up to this real evil, this real threat. And so what they need to do is they need to redirect all of that energy to another threat that they can position, right? And it always seems to come down to the big bad scary terrorists, right? Those damn Arabs. Now, here's the thing. I understand that radical Islam is an absolute threat to Western society and a threat to the United States of America. I'm not here saying it's not. And anybody that tries to say I am is stupid. Radical Islam, just like Zionism in general, not even radical Zionism, but Zionism in general, those two things are absolute threats to the United States of America, to Western society in every single way, especially Christian. But the question is, and I'll let you guys tell me what you think. What is the greater threat? Is the greater threat these big bad scary terrorists that we haven't seen since I don't know when? When was the last time we had a terrorist attack here? I think it was like a real one. The real one was really was it 9/11? Or am I just naive? Am I missing something? Like a true terror attack, right? I know we've had like little attacks here and there, but a true like country changing, history changing terror attack. And is that just because all of a sudden now we're just we're supporting Israel and they're just going after these guys and keeping them at bay the whole time, and so that's why they're our greatest allies? Is that what's really going on? Like, what's the real threat here? Is the real threat a country that has zero chance of building a nuclear weapon and actually getting it over here to the United States and posing a real threat there? Or is it the one that has the absolute capability of not only building them, but they have them currently and they have the ability of actually getting them here, right? Is the real threat the country that has a known terrorist and known spy and traitor who advocates for blackmailing with nuclear power in the event of an existential threat? Is it those people who are aligned with this person and coincidentally seem to have a complete hold on America, on our politicians, on our president, and on everything that's happening currently? Which is the real threat? Now, that being said, I think everybody understands that radical Islam, that actual terrorists are an extreme threat to this country. And I don't think it's lost on us of the fact that over the last, 4 years, the years when Biden was in office, the amount of people that came pouring into our country completely unvetted is a very, very scary reality. Okay. I actually saw this press conference from Cash, and he did say some things that are important to point out and that I think are true. I'm going to pull this up really quick, and we're going to watch this.
Granted asylum, and if so, when did that happen? Under which administration? And did authorities miss any signs, either in the asylum process or even back when before he worked for the CIA? If you could talk about that.
Well, you miss all the signs when you do absolutely zero vetting. And that's exactly what happened in this case. When you, in the prior administration, made the decision to allow thousands of people into this country without doing a single piece of background checking or vetting, that's how you miss every single sign. And Secretary Kristi Noem has put out details specifically related to your other questions, so I'll let that speak for themselves.
So look, he's right. He's absolutely right. And, if you've been following me for any amount of time, if you've been following me recently, I think it's funny because especially on my Instagram, I'll have a lot of liberals follow me, which again, I welcome everybody to follow me. And I do try to stay more in the middle. I'm definitely not liberal though. Like if you're following me thinking I'm some kind of liberal, you are barking up the absolute wrong tree. And I promise you're going to be very disappointed. Maybe not, but you'll be disappointed if you're thinking that's who I am. You may not be disappointed in the fact that I try to stay very in the middle. That's neither here nor there though. What I'm getting at is I have spoken for a very long time about the fact that the Democrats are an absolute great. Both parties are a threat. That at the end of the day, both parties are the problem. I think the two-party system is by far our biggest issue in this country. One of the biggest issues, I should say, one that causes most of the issues that we have is the divide and polarization and tribalism that is created from it. But that being said, I will choose a right-wing politician over a left one all day long. That's just the reality. I agree with very little that happens on the left, especially when it comes to border policy. We can talk about this till we're blue in the face. We're beating a dead horse, but you don't leave your back door open for anybody to come in at any time they want to without vetting or checking them at all. And so Cash is 100% right. That's what happened. Like you're not going to catch people if you're not trying to catch people. That's just the reality. And the Democrats very much did not try to catch these people. They let them pour into our country for years. And, there's been lots of whistleblowers that have talked about sleeper cells that are here in the country now, and lots of things that are of a huge threat to us, right? But that being said, it's like, okay, but what do we believe when it actually comes to, and look, I'm just expressing my thoughts. This is just kind of what's been going through my head over the last couple of days. And that's why I want to jump on here and just kind of talk about it. Like, what do we think as far as, are these cells being like, are they waiting? Are they waiting to strike? And is that strike coordinated by these terrorists themselves? Or do we think that it's coordinated by someone else? Do we think that all of this is kind of part of this greater plan? And that, like many times in history, these cells are actually propped up, funded by, and created by the very people that say they're here to they're here to protect us. What's the truth? I think this is one of the biggest issues with this current administration. And I had this conversation with a friend of mine too. It's like, look, if you guys really are doing what needs to be done, and you're doing the right things and you're acting in our best interests, well, then be more transparent about it. because the way that you're going about things and the way that you're actually, the way that you're not being transparent in any way, shape, or form, it only makes people not trust you more. It only makes the American public think that you have something to do with this stuff even more. It only makes people think that you don't have our interest in mind even more. And so I'm just going off of what I've seen, what I've heard, and what I've experienced as far as this administration goes. And so far, they have not given me any reason to trust them. Give me a reason to trust you. Give me a reason. That's what I'm saying. Give me a reason. You don't just expect it. That's not how it works. You don't just expect that we're all going to trust you because you said a bunch of stuff on podcasts that made us feel good, and then you got elected. Now you're in the position that you ran for, and you don't seem to be doing any of the things that you said you were going to do. And then every time somebody asks you, you call them a conspiracy theorist. Like, okay, that's not going to get you support. That's not going to get you trust. And so give us a reason to trust you. Give me a reason to trust you. Right now, I don't. Right now, I absolutely could see this being a setup for a massive false flag. And by massive, guys, I mean massive. I mean like October 7th could have been a freaking trial run. Yeah. Because imagine if something like that happened here in our country. Okay? Imagine if that happened here. You know what's really interesting about that? So many people that have been completely against what Israel has done. Now, understand this. People have been against it because of the fact that there's far more history to that whole situation than anybody likes to lead on, especially themselves, especially the Zionists and the people that are pro-Zionist, pro-Israel. They don't like to talk about the fact that there was a first blow, and it wasn't dealt by the Palestinians. Okay, there was a first action that was taken, and everything that came after that, right? But these people have continued to destroy these just murder at mass these civilians completely unchecked, and they used this event on October 7th as the catalyst that they needed to be able to do that. At least that's what it seems like, right? That's what it seems like. It seems like there was a stand down. It seems like it was like, let this happen because this is going to give us the reason and the justification for turning Gaza into a parking lot and killing hundreds of thousands of Palestinians over the next couple years, the next 2 to 3 years. That's what it seems like, okay? So that being said, that's why so many people are against this, right? That's why so many people are speaking out about it. But I want you to consider what would happen if the same thing that happened in October 7th happened in this country right now. What would happen? I would wager that almost every single American, regardless of where they stood politically, would almost overnight adopt the ideology that Israel has said they've had when it comes to this conflict with the Palestinians. Think about that for a minute, okay? Think about that. Think about what I'm saying. What I'm saying is right now it's the exact opposite. Right now people are largely unsupportive of everything that the government of Israel is doing, right? But if all of a sudden the same thing happened here, it's almost like everything would flip overnight, and it would be the exact thing that they need in order to completely flip the narrative, turn the tides, and get everybody back on the side of Israel versus all these other little countries, all these big bad terrorists, right? And I know that there's going to be people that are watching this that are saying, he's validating everything we've said about Palestine. He's validating everything we've said about Israel. No, I'm not. Because the situations are far different. Okay, they're far different. The difference is you're not asking, Israel isn't asking for the right to defend themselves. They're not asking for the right to defense. They're asking for the right to repression. Okay, there's a difference. If it happened here, it would be a legitimate attack that wasn't propped up or coerced, according to most Americans, right? But there would be those of us that would wonder, Was this part of a false flag agenda in order to potentially initiate everything they needed to, in order to garner the support that they've needed to justify everything that's happened and to place it on our tables and say, here, this whole Hasbara propaganda thing really comes to life? You know, the principle in Hasbara where they say, what would you do? Right? If this happened to you, what would you do? It's obviously a very manipulative question. But what if they could actually bring that to life in this country? And do any of us think that they're not capable of that? Do any of you actually believe that they're not capable of doing something like that? That a false flag is not possible? I sure as hell don't. I definitely don't think that that's impossible. I think it's absolutely possible. And I think anybody that doesn't is a fool. So that being said, like, what are we doing? If they're setting up a false flag, right? And let's go into this really quick too. For those of you guys that are saying, well, I don't know if I actually believe that they're capable of doing something so evil that they would be willing to literally launch an all-out attack on the American people in order to garner support and turn the tides when it comes to supporting Israel and the Greater Israel Agenda and project and foreign influence in the Middle East and all this other stuff, right? I don't know if I believe that. Well, how much do you know about Operation Northwoods? Because Operation Northwoods is a very real thing. It absolutely happened. And what Operation Northwoods was the Joint Chiefs of Staff during the time of JFK were trying to figure out how they could garner enough support in the United States of America to justify going to war with Cuba, to get rid of Fidel Castro, right? Because at the time, once again, the country was very much in a place where we wanted nothing to do with any more wars. None. We wanted out. Okay? And the threat of Fidel Castro and communism was right at our doorstep, right? This is according to all these people, it was right at our doorstep, and Cuban Missile Crisis and all these other things, right? So they came up with this plan called Operation Northwoods, and the whole idea was they came up with 7 potential ideas of what could be done in order to garner this support and turn the tides and make Americans want to support this war effort. And I don't know all of them. I'll try to list most of them. I have a highlight on my Instagram. You can go watch where I laid all this out. But some of them were blow up a ship full of Navy sailors and say it was Cuba. Pipe bombs in Miami and say it was Cuba. I believe one was they were going to, the worst one was they were going to shoot down a plane full of student tourists who were flying over Cuba, and say that it was Cuba that shot the plane down full of students. Like, I think it was like 40 or 50 students or something like that. And these were all real things. You can look them up. And it got to JFK and he said, absolutely not. And he basically said, I can't even believe this is being brought to me. But it was. And it was absolutely considered by these people. Coincidentally, not long after, JFK was killed. And so I want you to think about that. And by the way, this is just one example. There are many other examples where things like this have been considered. The loss or the intentional loss of American lives in order to garner support for the war machine and for political and foreign agendas to be pushed. This is not the first one. This is not the only one. It's been done many, many times. It's been considered many times. It's been done many times. Conspiracies, right? Allegedly. But that's why I don't believe that it's completely out of the realm of possibility to consider that there might be a chance that that's what's happening right now. That we are being set up for a massive false flag event that will completely turn the tides, change everybody's minds, and flip everything almost overnight. And, it's really interesting too, because I constantly talk about 9/11. And one of the biggest things that I talk about when it comes to 9/11 is the fact that I actually do believe that it's one of the very rare times in our history where it didn't matter who you were standing next to. It didn't matter if they were right, left, Republican, Democrat, gay, straight, Christian, Jew, whatever. Like, it didn't matter who you were standing next to when 9/11 happened. All that mattered was we are Americans, we love our country, we love our people, and we are willing to stand up and defend that. And we want to defend that. Like whatever you believe about 9/11, I obviously believe that it was an absolute inside job. Regardless of what you believe, though, it did create a sense of patriotism that this country has not seen since. And so the question is that what needs to happen again in order to not only turn the tides, but also in order to somewhat bring people together under this, unfortunately false pretense of patriotism? Because I'll tell you what, if an attack like October 7th happened in America, you would absolutely do that. Overnight, a sense of radical patriotism would take hold. A sense of all of these people need to die now. All of these people need to be taken out right now, regardless of who they are, where they stand, whatever. That's what would happen. Okay. And that's one of the reasons why I also, every time I speak about Israel, I don't fault the Israeli people. I know that there's a lot of bad Israeli people. I know there's a lot of good Israeli people. I know that there's good and bad people in every single group and every single walk of life. But the reason why I focus on the government itself when I'm talking about Israel, when I'm talking about the corruption and the evil and things like that, is because I truly do believe, this is just my opinion, but I believe that government purposely allowed the October 7th event to happen for this very reason that I'm talking about right now, in order to create this sense of patriotism and garner the support necessary in the country to just go and absolutely obliterate these people, the Palestinians. Right? That's what I believe. I don't know it to be a fact, but I believe that is an absolute possibility, a strong possibility, right? And so that's why right now, as you see this America First movement rising, which stands for everything that they don't want it to, right? It stands for the exact opposite of what they need, which is unchecked support for their foreign influence, the foreign wars, and continuing to fund Israel in this campaign and continuing to get paid from it, right? They need this agenda to go on, and the America First movement is crushing it right now. As Netanyahu has said many, many times, they are losing the propaganda war. And so what do you do when you're losing that bad? When there's nothing you can do to fix it? And what are these people willing to do? What lengths are they willing to go to? That's ultimately the question that I'm asking. And in addition to that, I will tell you this. The answer, or at least what I believe needs to happen immediately, but it won't probably. But what needs to happen immediately. Yeah, I like that comment, actually. This is a great. I'm putting that there, right there. Zionists needed a real boogeyman. Nick just backfired. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But more, just the first part is what I'm really focused on. Like, yeah, Nick was a byproduct of this, but at the end of the day, the Zionists needed a boogeyman. They really did. They still do. But what I was going to say was this, and this is the main message I want to share with you guys, and then I'm going to go ahead and get off, and I appreciate you being here for a little bit with me, and I'm going to go have some Thanksgiving dinner. But what I wanted to say was this. What needs to happen immediately is every single one of these immigrants, every single one of them, every single illegal immigrant, and every single undocumented Afghan immigrant, all of them, every single one, if they are not an American citizen, they all need to be rounded up and kicked out of the freaking country yesterday. This needs to happen now. This is one of those times where I am telling you, I am advocating 100% for our military to go in, get these people the hell out of our country now. Every single one of them. Because what that will do is it will do a much better job, at least, of assuring that this false flag that I'm talking about won't happen, because they won't have the ability to make it happen, because all these people will be kicked out of the country. It will also guarantee that we will not continue to deal with these issues of random Afghan freaking immigrants killing our service people, killing the people that serve and protect us. That cannot happen. I don't care what religion you're a part of. I don't care what walk of life you're from. I don't care what side you stand on. That doesn't happen. That can't happen. That's not okay. So what needs to happen right now, yesterday, is all of these people need to be forcefully, if necessary, rounded up and kicked the freak out of our country. Now. Mass arrests, mass expulsion, right now. Everything that the Biden administration caused needs to be fixed right now. And I'll tell you what, this should be a sign to everybody, depending on what the Trump administration does after this. This should be the ultimate sign of where the Trump administration stands and if they actually care about us as Americans. Because if nothing happens, and if instead it's pushed to just be this agenda of big, bad, scary terrorists, and it just all it does is create more security, right? If this enacts another Patriot Act, if that's what ends up happening, I think we all know where they stand. And I think we all know what they care about and what they're actually after. Because in my opinion, my humble opinion, the leader of the free world, after watching two servicemen get gunned down by an Afghani national, an immigrant from Afghanistan, it should not even be a question of what happens next. It should be everything I just said. It should be immediate, forceful expulsion of every single one of these people right now. No questions asked. I don't care who you are. If you do not have citizenship in this country, gone. You're gone. You can go, and if you're a good person, you can go ahead and try to go through our system again. That's great, fantastic, wonderful. If you're like that, I'm all about legal immigration. I'm all about it. But this whole illegal immigration thing that's happened for the last who knows how long, for the Biden administration, the entire Biden administration, all of it needs to be fixed now. That needs to be the number one focus. Okay? If that doesn't happen, it should be a major sign as to what this administration actually cares about and where they actually stand on as far as protecting us, as far as putting our needs first. This should be the telltale sign of, are we America first or not? Am I wrong? Just going through the comments here. Am I wrong? You guys disagree with that? Let's see. I'm going to read some of these comments. He's going back on what he said about visas. I didn't see that yet, but that sucks. Can we round up just the CIA ones, or do we bother separating them? All of them. Round them all up. They'll stage something to force digital ID. That's coming no matter what, I think. I mean, digital ID is coming no matter what, guys. That's just a reality. Let's see. Okay. What do you guys think? What else? Throw them in the chat. What do you think? I'm trying to get, I have 3 different places that I'm looking for comments, so bear with me here, but Trump is agenda first, not America, not people, not humans, not agenda only. Personal wealth. I mean, he's doing a bang up job of making me be able to refute that, quite frankly. Congress and Senate have proven incapable of fixing immigration. It's been a problem 60 years and they can't fix it. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Let's see what's in YouTube here. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, guys, I'm with you. Pretty much everything everybody's saying, I agree. I'm with you. We definitely have a problem with the CIA, though. We have a problem with the three-letter agencies for sure. And like I said, again, no proof. I'm not saying this is exactly what's happening, but like, just based on history, man, I would not. I'll end by saying this again. I would not be surprised if this is setting us up for a massive false flag in order to continue to push the agenda they need to, and basically in order to do damage control, because there's a hell of a lot of damage being dealt to this agenda that they have. There's a hell of a lot of damage being dealt to everything they've been trying to build for the last 60, 70 years in this country. It's being dismantled by the day. It's being dismantled by an America First policy, by an America First ideology, one that you can't kill. Okay? No matter who you assassinate, you can't kill America First. There will always be more people in America that want America first over everything else. From every walk of life and every side of the aisle, guys. That is something you will never kill. And they know that, which is why I believe this is a possibility. Because if you can't kill it, what do? You join it together, right? If you can't kill a movement, what do? Well, you make that movement stronger, but you put it in favor. You put it in your own favor. And I think ultimately that's what they have gotten to. I think they've gotten to the point where they're saying, listen, we can't stop this. This is happening no matter what. But while everybody is riled up about America, while they're all riled up about patriotism, while they're all riled up about, national sovereignty and national identity, let's give them a real reason to have all those feelings. Let's give them a real reason to get real strong about that, to dig their heels in real deep. Because if that happened, if someone like a Tucker Carlson or Nick Fuentes, if they didn't get on board with defending our country, with standing up against that attack, if that attack actually, let's say that attack actually happens. Let's say there's an attack on the American people, and it's a massive attack, like a 9/11 style attack. Okay, if that happened, and the people like Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes and Candace Owens and all these other people that are so pro-America and America first, if they didn't get on board with defending America and defending us from that attack and doing what's necessary to retaliate, what would happen to them? They would be forgotten. Everything they've worked on would be destroyed, and everything they do would be invalidated. Right? Think about it. And if that happened, well, then they, right, the ones pulling the strings, the ones creating all this chaos, they would have succeeded at eliminating their opposition by playing the game a little bit better. And that's unfortunately the truth. That's unfortunately what would actually happen, which is why I don't believe that it's impossible to think that that's what's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to, and I hope I'm wrong. But if that did happen, it would be exactly what they need to get the support back that they've lost. Someone said, dude, it's kind of why the Candace is crazy card works. Yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, call somebody crazy, call somebody an anti-Semite, call somebody racist, call somebody hateful. It's just that's always been the game. All right, I got a few minutes, and then I'm going to jump off. I got just a few minutes. Shoot like a couple more questions, and then I'm going to call it. And if not, I'm just going to jump off because I got Thanksgiving dinner to get back to. Or not get back to, I get to. I'm going to check YouTube chat real quick. What we got here? Qatar is not having a military base in Idaho, guys. That's one of those things where you have to read into that more. It's not what they said it was. All right. Maybe I'll talk about that next time. All right, I'm gonna call it, guys. I appreciate you guys. I'm gonna head home. I hope you guys have a very happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy the time with your family. Have a great day. Thank you so much for all the support, guys. If you want to continue to support me, once again, subscribe to my YouTube. You can subscribe to my X, and I will be posting subscriber-only content. And the last thing, obviously, support my brand, Official Patriot Gear. It's officialpatriotgear.com. Actually, I just realized I can't give you the link because we shut our website down every Thanksgiving to have people focus more on family and everything. And so that's funny. That was like just a freaking jerk reaction right away. But tomorrow for Black Friday, you can support me by buying some gear for Official Patriot Gear. For today, go focus on your family, have fun, enjoy the food. If you're watching football, enjoy the Cowboys losing because I freaking hate them. And I appreciate you guys. We'll catch you later.